I am back. I am finally back in my office, back in Cape Town after a magical, like otherworldly, sacred trek to Egypt and to Jordan. And now I sit back in my chair and it's like it's a dream, like it never happened, but it totally did, because let me tell you, I collected so many codes. My spiritual bags are full. Even had to pay extra luggage allowance on the plane. But no, it was a very, very powerful trip with powerful soul family as well. Magical and amazing, and we literally mission completed, big fat tick. And yeah, so now is this time for integration, which is quite crazy because I'm doing this video for the eclipse moon, which is tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, like, kind of look at the timing of all of these things. A lot of my videos I've been talking about trust, and you know, like the timing of everything, that we needn't not worry about anything because our soul knows exactly what's going on. And even as myself and my group come back into our homesteads, as it were, because home is Egypt, homesteads, you know, we look at the timing that we're now going into the eclipse full moon, and you know, it's an opportunity to just go through another expansion and integration on another level. So you know, even when we went on the tour, the first day was actually, well, the 22nd, when we started to travel and go to the Great Sphinx. That was actually Wadjet's feast day. And I mean, I'm all about the goddess Wadjet because I'm all about the serpent energy and ayahuasca. Oh, I've spoken about it in other videos. Like, you know, I had no idea that the year prior when I booked that date, that's what the date would we be starting the tour off on the 22nd, go figure, the 22nd. And you know, and it was one of the most holiest days in Egypt, and especially for me and the group, and there was no conscious knowledge of that, which goes back to this eclipse moon, you know, the timing of it. We've now come back off a huge trip, of a huge mission. And now we are going through the eclipse, and on all of that energy, you know, what is that all about? Let's talk about that a bit, you know. Sudden rapid growth, sudden expansions, you know, opportunities coming in, like, you know, and it's almost like, it feels like this particular moon is a bit of a drop kick in its energy, like in a good way. Well, I don't know, is any drop kick nice? I don't know, but this is in a good way, because I feel like it's an acceleration, a thrust, if you will, up to the next level. And I think that's kind of what's going to happen, because we don't do all of this work on our own. In fact, spirit takes the wheel on all of this. You know, we just got to be present and open to receive, and we forget that because we do far too much doing, and we've got to do it all. And that's where we sit there and think, come on, spirit, you know, help us out a little bit. And they're like, well, pass the ball. Do you know what I mean? Have you watched those games of the little kids? I mean, my kids, especially my son, when he first started to learn how to play rugby and that, and you'd watch these little 8-year-olds, and rugby was like a game for one, so it seemed, because there was no teamwork whatsoever. It was just like they were holding onto the ball. They ran from one end of the field to the other, exhausted, and didn't kind of pass to their team members, which were there, but they didn't know any different. Just holding onto the ball, just got to get to the other end of the field. And that's kind of what we do. And we need to understand that we have a whole team available to us. And they're on the sidelines going, you know what, anytime you want to pass that rugby ball, you know what I mean? We can help you out a little bit here. So that comes back to trust, you know, trusting and knowing that, like, you know, everything is in alignment. And that was very much the tour to Egypt, like 100%, you know, everything just slotted in. And there was no need for human intervention because it was already set in the stars exactly how it was going to play out. And that is your life. In this waking life, that is your life right now. You know, everything is set in the stars. You've already agreed to it. It was ordained. It was agreed upon. So you just got to get out of the way of yourself and understand what is your role. Your role is to receive and be open to catch the ball, or throw the ball, at least maybe let go, so then you can let it go to receive again. You know what I'm saying? So the eclipse energies, I had a very, very powerful dream last night that I was packing up an office. So I was closing down the printers, packing up all of the office equipment and putting it all away. Now, obviously, office for me means work and everything like that and productivity. So we were closing all the laptops and we were packing up because we were moving. And then the dream flicked to another place where I was moving from one place where I lived to a much bigger kind of like small plot, more expansive, more conducive for me in the dream, for me to work. for me to be in a more conducive environment that supports where I'm at. And it was a really happy dream. And there was lots of other different things, to do with prosperity and everything like that. And that was the dream I had last night as we approach this eclipse tomorrow. So that really lines up with where we're going with this propulsion, this pushing forward. And it's going back to the trust factor, that to understand where your place is in all of this, and and basically get in alignment with your team. So spirit will line everything up. You put your Batman sign in the sky, so they can see it, and your order is in with with them, and they now know, okay, so she needs this and she needs that. Okay, all right, okay, we got it. But you've got to let go of it. You've got to be able to let go of the order to send it off into the sky, and then they get busy. So that is where you just get on with your life now, love and light, send it out, and you just keep expansive and open. But what happens as a human, we start to get controlling about it and go, but what if it doesn't happen? Here's the breakdown in trust. It starts to move away. What if it doesn't happen? Let me just micromanage everything, and it starts to feel really sticky and sludgy, and then that's what takes us out of joy. And we all understand and know that when we have a non-presence or absence of joy, we can't create. Because it's just, it becomes from a doing standpoint, and then that just breeds nothing except much of the same control, doing in your head. We don't move forward. And it's really quite interesting, because I'm going to now bring in to back up this moon energy. Incredible things have been happening. Now I'm going to talk about the changing of the guard, just making my notes here because I've got loads of downloads coming in as I'm speaking. Changing of the guard. Okay, so when I talk about the changing of the guard, okay, what I mean by that is when we go through massive shifts and expansions, and I think that many of us are actually feeling this happens to me often. When I go through a huge expansion, what happens is all of a sudden I don't feel as connected to my guides as I used to be, or I feel kind of like a little bit like I'm floating somewhere and I haven't meditated for days. I don't feel in my flow. I kind of feel a bit like bewildered. I don't really know what I'm doing. And I get panicked by that, because I'm like, why can't I meditate? Why can't I feel that groundedness, that flow? Because there's a changing of the guard going on. So you have your sets of guides, okay, that work with you, your beings, okay. What happens is when you expand and you go to the next level, your area of expertise heightens and you get better at it, and you're going to start to do different things in different ways. So your team here, who were your ones maybe to do with, maybe finance or whatever, they're going to step back. And now you're going to go into a different area of creativity. So different guides need to step in who are more adept in that area of expertise that can help you. It's no different if you finding somebody to manage your money. You need an accountant, an expert in that. Somebody who's help you with your emotions. You need a counselor. You know what I mean? It's no different. The guides work exactly the same. So when we go for this massive expansion, and we move, the guides step back and a new team comes in. But there's a transition phase where you actually sit there and you're in the void and you're thinking, oh my God, nothing's happening. What's going on? And then you start to kind of freak out a little bit. That's the changing of the guard. So many of you may start feeling that. I know I'm feeling it since getting back from Egypt. It's just been huge, exponentially expansive and powerful. And I'm a little bit bewildered, spinning around a little bit, going, I don't know what's going on. So there's that, but it will land very, very soon. So as soon as the full moon energies come to pass, and it kind of we have this expansion, and then things are going to start to settle down and land a little bit, which takes me on to grounding now. I'm going to share with you what happened with my little puppy Anubis. Now Anubis is definitely my dog. I've got a puppy recently that just turned up before I went to Egypt. Not ideal, because he needed guidance and I wasn't here and I had to leave. And I've just come back now, and this dog has completely destroyed my house, chewed my trainers, broken everything, chewed through every single wire. And I remember lying in my bed going, I can't do this. I need to remove the problem. I need to remove the problem, because I was so anxious and I was so stressed out. And I was like, right, I'm going to just send him back to the farm that he came from. And we're just going to take the problem out of my space, and then peace will be restored. That was my thinking. So I was going into a very human energy as a result of this puppy Anubis. He was taking me into that place. So then I got a dog trainer today who's like Caesar Milan. He is Caesar Milan, basically. So spiritual, so connected. He got me to walk this very frenetic, anxious, hectic animal that I brought into my life. He got me to walk him up the road by calming my own energy right down. I didn't realize I was so penga and woo, apparently I am. Because as soon as I calmed down and as soon as I walked this dog, he calmed right down. And he started to show me the true meaning of groundedness and going slow. And I had to do this dog walk at a real slow pace, which is not like me. I run around like, you know, like a squirrel on crack. Boom, done. Dogs walked, on to the next. Well, I had to slow right down. And as I did, my heart started to open and I wanted to cry. And I was like, wow. And this dog just looked up at me and I was like, so you're not the problem. It's actually me. But my point is by the time we completed this walk, which was only 5 minutes, I walked at a pace which blocked out all time. And I just invested in the moment. And he showed me how to become really peaceful and slow. I shit you not, since I got back to this house this afternoon, he has slept. He calmly walks at my ankles because he's shown me this new level of groundedness. And I have basically been in the office this afternoon, writing, everything's been in flow. And he's looking at me going, yeah, do you get it now? I mean, for goodness sake, his name's Anubis. You know what I mean? He's all about grounding and just like, you know, and that's my point. Okay. So basically really coming back down into that slowness, that peacefulness. And when you get there, go in a little deeper. And then when you've got there, do some more breath, take yourself down even further. Because even though you think you may be grounded and really yeah, I'm ready to receive, you're actually not. So that's your only job right now. What I just explained to you, your experience with the puppy Anubis, that is what I've explained to you. Just slowing it right down. Even going for a walk and consciously just slowing it right down. That is going to do so much for your energy to prepare yourself to receive. Because vibrating like this is not going, I'm not in one spot long enough to receive the fullness of what's trying to come through. So that's really, really, really important. And, you know, big shifts are happening. You're going to have this big, whoa, you know, and what they showed me before I did this video was the tide going out, slowly going out. Okay, so it's slowly going up. This is where we're at right now. We've got the real retraction of the water and it's like, what's happening? Anticipation, slight anxiety. But that's where the stillness has actually got to come in. We need to flip and reverse that and bring in the Anubis experience and just really ground down slowly in that to prepare for this beautiful wave that is going to take you into unlimited and infinite possibilities of amazingness. Because you haven't worked this long through all of the purges and the shit shows we've been through to basically not get the good stuff, and the good stuff is coming. So it really, really depends. Like we can get washed away in a tsunami and be that person that gets spat up on the beach with, like, you know, eyelids turned inside out, snot down the cheek, you know, bathing suit all over the place. Or you can surf in like a pro and just go, yeah, man, caught that wave and did it like a boss, you know? So that is the difference. And I think that's all we need to work on right now. That's all we need to do in this now moment before this full moon energy comes in. Grounding. So yeah, exciting times are ahead. So it's all about how do you choose to walk your dog? That's all I'm going to say to you. And as minimal as it is, it's massive. Massive changes will come if you can experience a little bit of what I was shown by this beautiful black puppy, Anubis, who I thought was a real problem child and I just needed to get rid of the problem. You know, yeah, don't overlook the small things. That's all I'm saying, you know. So yeah, with love and light in my heart, I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to carry on posting my magical Egypt pictures. Look out for those. And just on that, I know we're quite a way away, but I have got an exponentially exciting tour booked for 30th of March 2023. So next year travel, you know, give you plenty of times to get your duckies in a row, but I'll be going to be talking about that as well. So there's magical things coming, you know. So we just receive these gifts so we can live our best life and come on lots of sacred travel with Marie. Yay! Love and light, y'all. Chat later.